This week's tip is brought to you by the Traveling Archer, available at bowtuningtips.com. Hey everybody, this week's bow tuning tip, we're going to talk about how to install one of these Peep sights that don't have an aligner. And I know a lot of guys have them on their bows out there. It's probably the most common used Peep sight nowadays. And the problem that I end up hearing that they have is that it'll rotate every time and get in the way, and they're not able to see through it. Well, I'm going to show you how to install one of these and not have that problem. This bow is a brand new bow. It's never had a Peep sight in the string. It's only been shot about 2 or 3 times. I've got a D-loop installed on it, and I've got the rest installed on it. Everything's square. So what we're going to do is, before we even put the Peep sight in or even worry about where the Peep sight's going to go, we're going to walk over to the target. We're going to fire down about 20 arrows, let that string go ahead and creep and stretch and get settled into the place it needs to be. Then we're going to install the Peep sight. Okay, we're over here at the target, and we're going to take about 20 shots. The reason that we like to shoot about 20 times without the Peep sight in, there's 2 things. It's going to help your strings settle, and that's going to get them to rotate into their natural position where they're always going to be at. That way, when you install the Peep, it's not going to be turning on you. And the other thing it's going to do is it's going to give you a little bit of chance to feel how this bow is going to shoot and how it's going to feel in your hand, and it's going to get you into your natural anchor point that you're going to have with this bow. That's where you want the Peep sight to be. You don't want to put the Peep in, and then a lot of times I've found that if a Peep sight's in there, it's going to force you to look through it, so you're going to alter an anchor, and you're not comfortable, so it's not going to be a good anchor point. Let's go ahead and shoot about 20 times and get this string settled in, and we're going to go over and install the Peep. And one thing to think about when you're doing this, don't worry about accuracy. I'm only standing about 10 feet from the target, and I'm just going to go ahead and just fire into it. All I'm after right now is just go ahead and settle the string. But I want to anchor naturally. Notice that I anchor with my normal anchor point, pretending like the Peep sight's there, and then just touch it off. Okay, we got our 20 shots fired through the bow, and that number doesn't have to be a precise number. 20, 15, somewhere around in that neighborhood. You just want to get the string settled in as close as you can to where it's going to naturally be at. Now what we're going to do is we're going to install the Peep sight, and then we're going to line it to my eye, and we're going to tie it in. Well, there's a lot of guys out there right now that are going, wait a minute, you got to put that thing in a press. No, I'm going to show you a different way. You don't have to have a press to put a Peep sight in. The only thing I need is my string separator. I'm going to show you guys how to put it in without a press. Okay, what you do first is you want to make sure your D-loop is somewhere in the backwards position like you're going to be connected to it. It should say somewhere in that neighborhood. It's going to move when you shoot, but you want it for just the Peep sight installation somewhere right about there. Then you take your string separator, the pointed end right there, and you're going to go up to your string and you're going to insert it right through the string, being really careful when it goes in and you start to open it that you don't see the little spider webs. If you do, pull it out, reinsert it until you only split the main fibers. You don't want to split the main fibers in half, you want to just separate them. Let's see if I can get this dude in there. And when I do this, I'm trying to install it to where this is back and I'm going in directly in line with it. And though these multiple colored strings, it's not going to matter putting a Peep sight in if you don't have all the same colors on each side. Okay, now we've got our string separated. As you can see, our D-loop is dead in line with the opening. So when you turn it like that, the D-loop, the opening, it's all in one. We're going to go ahead and take our Peep sight and install it. And you want to install your Peep sight so that it's leaning in an angle like it's going to turn and pivot, because it'll actually be in the string crooked, and when you draw back it's going to turn up so you can see through the hole. You just stick it in here, and there's little slots on the sides of most of them. You turn your string separator and just pull it out, and there you go. And already you can sit here and see the D-loop is out, the Peep sight is really close to being turned perfect for my eye. Now all I need to do is I'm going to put an arrow on here, we're going to draw it back and get it set to my eye, and then tie that dude in. Whenever you draw your bow back using release, I suggest putting an arrow shaft on there just to avoid dry fires. Now we've got our arrow on here, we got our Peep sight in, we're going to go ahead, lock onto our loop, draw it back and see how close this comes to being in my eye. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and draw this bow back, anchor, Close your eyes. Get your anchor point that feels good. Relax your hand, everything, just like you're going to be shooting, and open your eyes, or eye, however you shoot. Okay, I can see by looking at this that I need to go up about 4 inches. It looked like 4 inches in the camera to my eye, but it's probably only to about right where this black line's at. These two black fibers come together. Okay, now when I slid it up, that peep sight twisted the opposite way. Real quick, grab the string separator, go ahead and put it in there, and you just want to flip that peep sight around one more time so that it's going to pivot to be in line with your eye. Just like that, okay? It's that simple, guys. If you take these extra precautions when you're doing this, it's going to line up every time once we tie it. All right, now that we have our peep sight lining up when we draw the bow, and it's aligned over my eye, what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of waxed B50 bowstring material and tie it in. What we do is we're going to double it up like so. You have a loop on one end and 2 tag ends on the other, and you're going to wrap it around the string and insert the 2 tag ends through the loop and pull it tight like this. This is what I call the over and under knot. Okay, about a 1/2 inch above your peep sight is where you want to start this knot. You start it out like I told you there, then you're going to run this 2 tag ends through the loop around the string like this. Okay, you pull it tight. Keep doing that. And you're going to see that it starts to pull that peep sight nice and snug against the string like so. Okay, 4 or 5 times, that's all you're going to need to do. Now this is a continuous knot. The top and bottom knot are connected. You take your string, your B50, you run those 2 tag ends right through that little triangle right there. You're going to pull it down like so. You're going to go around your bowstring one more time there through that triangle at the bottom. Pull it like so, and then you're going to start those half knots again like this. It's over and under. Boom again. You'll see it. It'll pull that string right close together just like that. 4 or 5 times. Okay. Separate those 2 tag ends. You're going to go ahead and wrap them around the string one time like so. Put a square knot in there. Leave about 1/4 of an inch. And then I twist them together, and I'll go ahead and I'll burn those down and melt them so they stick to the other string. You just want to be careful. Don't burn your bowstring. Well, you can see that when we draw this back, just from the position of the D-loop, that the peep sight's already in the right place, and it should draw back and line up perfect. If it doesn't, you can do minor little tweakings by sliding the knots on your D-loop until you get your peep sight to line up like this one. Okay, I hope that tip helped you guys out. Thanks, and stay tuned. I'll see you next week with another great tip. Be sure to visit bowtuningtips.com for all your latest archery tuning tips, taxidermy tips, and there's even an online store with hundreds of items to make you a better archer.